Okay, so we can review. We started talking about objects, and we had the introduction to two principles that are very important in object-oriented programming, and that is abstraction, how objects see each other, and how they can be set up to talk to each other. And then we talked about encapsulation, and in the simplest forms is just using variables and class functions in a class structure to create an object. And that's what we covered. Why do we do this? And it's to protect data, and only the object can modify its data directly. Other objects modify it implicitly after data validation is performed by the class in question. In this case, for example, the bank account class. We also covered examples. We started with this bank account class. We went ahead and created a simple public function, get balance, and that function, any users of the class can access it, and that same class had a private balance class member or variable, and only that the bank account class can access that data, and that's again to enforce encapsulation, protect the data integrity. In addition, we added a deposit and a withdraw class function. We did this to show how we can use encapsulation that allows other objects to modify data. If we go back to this abstraction example, well, I think it's this one, yeah. If we go into this abstraction example, we can see that another class can open or deposit or withdraw an account. However, it cannot see the internals, or how the class is saving or retrieving data. And if we think about it, those classes do not need to know how the bank account gets its data and how it saves its data. As long as a deposit goes through and the withdrawal goes through, in a real world scenario, obviously a receipt would be generated. But for these examples, they're bare bone classes to simply understand how we can create objects and give them actions. In this case, we are modeling a bank account, real world domain object, and we have a get balance, not open, deposit, and withdraw. But those are actions that other classes can perform on it. And then we also talked about initializing the private data. So if I go into Visual Studio Code and I bring up that header file for this class, the bank account header, this is what I'm talking about. We initialize private variables, in this case to 0. And if you were in the Wednesday class, I will talk about these special functions in the next lecture on Monday. Okay. And what will we cover this week? Well, this week we will cover constructors. And that is so that we can give a meaningful value to class variables. We initialize them with data that is provided to us from users of our class, in most cases, right? We'll take the simple route. We'll use simple integers, and we'll show this concept. Also, let me see, we will talk in detail about how classes behave in memory. So make sure, if you've not read chapter 7 on the Gaddis book, and then read like the first 6 sections of chapter 11 on the Gaddis book. Okay.